Sahasrayuga paryantam aharyad brahmano viduhu ratrim yuga sahasrantam teho ratravido janaha. So Krishna talks about the life duration of Lord Brahma, because it is said that even if you go back to Brahma's planet, you have to come back to this world if you don't become Krishna conscious and go back to Godhead. One may say, yeah, that is all right, but I will enjoy on this planet. But then Krishna is saying, I'll give you an idea about the life of Brahma, compared to which the life on this planet is so tiny. And even people who go there also come back. What are you talking about in this tiniest existence in this world? So that's the point Krishna is trying to make. So life of Brahma is Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, 1,000 yugas together. Like one yuga in this context means the combination of Satya Yuga, Treta Yuga, Dwapara Yuga, and Kali Yuga. All these yugas together considered as one yuga. So, like that, Sahasra Yugas, 1,000 cycles of these yugas together, Sahasra Yuga Paryantam, Aharyat Brahmano Viduhu, that is like one day of Brahma. And similar is the duration of his night, Ratrim Yuga Sahasrantam, Te Ahoratra Vido Janaha. By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together is the duration of Brahma's one day. And such also is the duration of his night. Such a huge duration Brahma's days. That means even if you go there and you enjoy for so long, if your mentality is not rectified, again you have to come back. And for Brahma, it is like he's living only 100 years. For us, it may look like it's magnificent, isn't it? Like in movies, also they show when they go to the higher planets, when they travel in space, as you keep traveling closer to the speed of the light, or the faster you travel, the time dilates. In the sense, 1 second of you will be many minutes here on this planet. So that means if you live in the space for 1 minute, a lot of time would have happened, several months would have elapsed on this planet. That is the theory of relativity of Einstein. So that is proved even materially also. Like one king in earlier in history of the Vedic literature, he wants to get his daughter married for a suitable husband. And he goes to meet Lord Brahma, because the higher planets travel was possible in those days, because these are great yogis as well as kings. And so he takes his daughter to Lord Brahma to get an advice who could be a great match for his daughter. I think it is Kukudmi. The Kukudmi is the king. And so Brahma is busy attending to some things. And then he comes out after that and meets the king and understands. And then the Brahma starts to laugh. And Kukudmi asks, why are you laughing? And he says, oh, in this small time that you spent here, several years, in fact, several generations, the yuga itself has changed. Now it is Dwapara Yuga running, and people are much shorter and all that. And still, now Krishna and Balarama are enacting their pastimes. So Balarama is the right match for your daughter. So that's how Balrama marries. And so the point is that when you go to the higher planets, the time dilates. One moment of Brahma, like in the Krishna book also we see, like 1 year on this earth. When Krishna, Brahma steals these cowherd boys, friends of Krishna, the cows, and hides them. And then he comes back within a moment, and for on the earth, 1 year would have elapsed. And in 1 year, Krishna is managing everything as if nothing happened. And Krishna has expanded into all these cowherd boyfriends and the calves, exactly replica. In fact, the parents, they were feeling even more blissful because Krishna himself has taken the form as their sons, as the calves. The cows were licking the calves like anything, and they could not stop these cows, the cowherd men. They could not stop these cows from running towards these calves out of love and giving them milk because it is Krishna who has expanded as these calves, and our original relation was with is with Krishna and even the children. So there was love everywhere, and Balaram could see that and could understand that it is Krishna's magic. It is Krishna who has expanded. And then when Brahma came after a moment, 1 year has passed, and it's as if nothing has changed, and Brahma becomes bewildered. Did I really steal these cowherd boys and calves? What is happening? And then, out of mercy, Krishna shows that they are like actually his expansions. And then Brahma comes to his senses and starts to offer his prayers. So there is one moment of Brahma is like 1 year of earth time. Similarly, one day of Brahma you can imagine it like 1,000 ages together. Like Satya Yuga lasts for 1 million, 1.7, close to 1.8 million years, 1,728,000. So let's say 1.8 million. Then Treta Yuga lasts for 1.2 million. Then Dwapara Yuga 800 million. Kali Yuga 400,000. Sorry, 800,000, 400,000. So like that, progressively the duration reduces. And in total, Prabhupada gives the calculation from Vedic literature. All these yugas together, put together, it becomes 4.32 billion years. It's given in the purport, you can read. That means these yugas multiplied by 1,000, which is 4.32 billion years. So 4.32 million multiplied by 1,000 is 4.32 billion years. It is like one day of Brahma. And similar is the duration of Brahma's night. So it is so magnificent from our perspective. For Brahma's perspective, he is living a day, he's having 12 hours and he's sleeping, and the next day comes. It's like that. So Prabhupada says in the purport, by this calculation, like if Brahma lives for 100 such years, like every day, like 4.32 billion, and night also 4.32 billion years, like that 30 days in a month and 12 months in a year, and he lives for 100 such years, and then he dies. These 100 years, by earth calculations, they total to 311 trillion and 40 million years. So, by these calculations, the life of Brahma seems fantastic and interminable. But from the viewpoint of eternity, it is as brief as a lightning flash. In the causal ocean, there are innumerable Brahmas rising and disappearing like bubbles in the Atlantic. Brahma and his creation are all part of this material universe, and therefore they are in constant flux. In the material universe, not even Brahma is free from the process of birth, old age, disease, and death. But the thing is, with Brahma, is Brahma is directly engaged in the service of the Supreme Lord. In what? In the management of this universe. And therefore, he at once attains liberation. But the inhabitants of Brahmaloka are also subject to death. And according to the consciousness at the time of death, they'll be either elevated or they'll come back to this planet. Abrahma bhuvana lokaha punaravartino Arjuna. So the point here is, even if you are as fantastic as Brahma, ultimately, what is the lesson? Even Brahma is engaged in the service of the Lord. He is not thinking himself to be great. Like Newton has said, oh, you're such a great person, you're a great scientist. No, I'm just collecting some pebbles on the beach of an ocean. There is so much ocean of knowledge, and so there are so many pebbles, there is so much of things to collect. I'm just collecting some pebbles. So the more you become knowledgeable, the more humbler you become. Because we are what we are today is nothing but the borrowed plumes from the borrowed plumes of the Lord. Our greatness is borrowed greatness. If one gets carried away thinking, oh, I am such a great person, I am such a knowledgeable person, like for example, Muhammad Ali, he was one of the greatest boxers the world has produced. So he was a champion, world champion, and he was so strong in his movements. But when he became old, he got a disease by which he could not even hold a cup of coffee. His hands became so weak. The same hands which were so strong, which defeated the opponents with his hits, the same hands, they could not even lift a cup of coffee for himself. But of course, he was a theist, he was a devotee, he was believer in God, but still everybody in this world have to succumb to the forces of time. So if the power is in your control, then why you cannot have that all the time? Like forget Muhammad Ali. He became like that in his old age. Like Arjuna, take the Arjuna's example. Arjuna was such a great warrior. He got the Pashupatastra. He was able to use it to defeat the biggest warriors in Mahabharata. Karna, Drona, Bhishma, all these great warriors. The Pandavas were able to defeat. Arjuna had defeated. But the same Arjuna, when Krishna enacted his disappearance pastime in Dwaraka, all the Yadu dynasty were killed and the queens were left. Krishna had disappeared. And Arjuna went to Dwaraka to protect the queens and bring them back to Hastinapura. At that point, there were some cowherd men without any weapons, with just some sticks. They just defeated Arjuna and took those queens away. And Arjuna, with all his almighty power, he could not do anything. And he was feeling so much confident about his abilities that he was humiliated and he was brought to his senses. And then he realized, oh, that was actually the 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 mighty power he had, the abilities he had in fighting Mahabharat, which he thought belonged to him only, actually was borrowed abilities granted to him by Krishna for some time being. In one of the other episodes in Krishna book, we see Arjuna, he becomes so swayed because he was a Kshatriya, he could not take the insult given to Ugrasena. So somebody comes and challenges that, oh, what kind of king you are? People are dying in this kingdom. My children are dying. As soon as they are born, they are dying. What kind of king you are? You cannot even protect the citizens from this kind of death. And then Arjuna becomes so enraged by that insult. He's a Kshatriya. In my presence, with my ability, I will never let this happen. All these people here may be powerless, but I will never let this happen. And then if your boy still dies, then I will enter fire and die. And then Krishna has to save Arjuna. He gave that promise. But still, these children, they are born, they are getting, they're dying again. Arjuna built a beautiful a wall with his arrows, so nobody can come, enter, and take away. No mystic power can come and take away. Arjuna thought he had everything in his possession to save that child, new child, but still the child disappeared. And then Arjuna became so morose. He thought he was the best archer, best warrior. He had so much confidence in his ability. Everything was shaken up. And then Krishna took him to everywhere, every nook and corner of this world, to this universe. They even penetrated the layers of the universe and went to the Karana Jala, and there they found Mahavishnu's residence, and they entered the abode. And then Mahavishnu, he became engladdened, took the darshan of Krishna, and then they found those children there. It was all Mahavishnu's play. He wanted to have darshan of Krishna. When Krishna came down to this planet as he is in his original form, Tribhuj Muralidhar, threefold bending form of Shyama Sundara, it is so attractive even to Lord Vishnu. Yam Shyama Sundaram Achintya Gunasvarupam Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. So Mahavishnu wanted to take darshan of Krishna. See how attractive he is. So after taking, he admits, it is me only who has schemed this so that you both come to me. So it was because of Mahavishnu's ploy these children were taken away. But then Arjuna came to his senses. He became so arrogant about his ability. He didn't think it was Krishna's kingdom, Dwaraka, and if Krishna wanted, he could have solved it. And he thought, oh, he is better than Krishna. He knows better than Krishna. He is the best in the business. Of course, he was a devotee. These are all done to show us the lessons. So the point is that however knowledgeable you may be, however great you may be, up to Brahma or Arjuna or Newton or Muhammad Ali, whoever it is, one should not become puffed up. The power you have today, the knowledge you have today, may go away at any time. You can go find examples. Great people are now having Alzheimer's, dementia. They cannot even remember that they had been such a president, such a famous person, such a knowledgeable scientist. So Brahman understood that. And therefore, Brahma, he offers this prayer to the Lord. It's documented in Bhagavatam. Esha prapannavarado ramayatma shaktya यद्यत् करिष्यति गृहीत गुणावतारः तस्मिन् स्वविक्रमम् इदं सृजतोऽपि चेतो युञ्जीत कर्मशमलं च यथा विजह्याम्. So he says, I pray to Krishna only to engage in his service in the creation of this material world, and I pray that I may not be materially affected by my works. Because if I am materially affected, I will generate false prestige of being the creator. But if I pray and remain as a humble servant of Krishna, then I'll be able to give up the false prestige of being the creator. So we all are in our own sense little Brahmas. We are puffed up in our own ways, having some abilities, carried away by false prestige, thinking ourselves to be this. I am great, I am that, I am this. One time I was discussing with my colleague way back in India, and he knew that I was practicing Krishna consciousness. And so we were discussing about this philosophy and how Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead and eternally we are servants of Krishna. And then he became upset. He said, no, I don't believe that there is God. Everybody is God. I am God. You are God. Everybody is God. He started to say. I couldn't believe that people, I mean, Prabhupada keeps saying there are people, bogus gurus, Mayavadis, they mislead people into this kind of philosophy. But that was the first time I was seeing live people fall into this trap of this foolish Mayavadi preachers, bogus gurus, who say that, oh, everybody is God, everything is illusion, there is nothing like Krishna, or Krishna is also that impersonal absolute. But you see, the knowledgeable people like Brahma, even the great scientists, they were believers in God. You may achieve big, big things. At the end of the day, a knowledgeable person understands that my knowledge, my ability has been given by Krishna. रसोहम अप्सु कौन्तेय प्रभास्मि शशिसूर्ययोः प्रणवः सर्ववेदेषु शब्दः खे पौरुषं नृषु. Krishna says, I am the taste in the water, I am the light of the sun and the moon, I am the syllable Om in the Vedic mantras, I am the ability in man, I am the sound in the sky and the ability in man. You find any ability in a person, it is Krishna. So here Prabhupada says in that purport Bhagavatam, foolish men want to take credit for all creations made by them, but intelligent persons know very well that not a blade of grass can move without the will of the Lord. Thus, all the credit for wonderful creations must go to Him. By spiritual consciousness only can one be free from the contamination of material affection and receive the benedictions offered by the Lord. I'll stop here. Anyone has any questions or comments?